Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to demonstrate the use of openvas, and we will be using Kali Linux for this. But before installing this in our Kali Linux machine, let's see what this openvas actually is. So openvas stands for Open Vulnerability Assessment Scanner, and in this activity we will have Kali Linux machine, and we will also have Metasploitable 2 machine. So let's say we want to use this openvas scanner here in our Kali Linux machine, and we want to scan our target machine, which is Metasploitable 2. So we would like to find out the weaknesses or vulnerability in these systems. So openvas is the scanner component of the Greenbone Vulnerability Manager (GVM), which is actually a software framework of several services and tools offering vulnerability scanning and vulnerability management. And you can see further details on Wikipedia. openvas actually finds these live hosts, port, and services and compares them with its feed. So it means there is some data, there is some database, and it will compare the weaknesses. So here in this Kali Linux, we will have the openvas, and openvas has some database, and when scanning this target machine, it will be comparing it with its database, and if it finds some weaknesses or vulnerability, then it can report us. And after scanning, it may also suggest some ways to mitigate the vulnerability. Now only for a few seconds we can also see their official website, that is openvas.org, and you can see it says that openvas is a full-featured vulnerability scanner. And if we are interested in reading about further details or about the history, then we can go here, and there's really interesting things which they have already mentioned on their websites here. And then they also discuss the interaction or the connection between openvas and GVM, and this is how this is the history of openvas project itself. And one more interesting thing which I want to show you, the feed. So it says that feed has a long history and daily updates, and this is interesting that if you go to this website, you can also see their live feed there. So that's really interesting. And maybe I accept cookies for this. And enterprise feed here, you can see if you want to view live here, that will be interesting to see the live feed of this Greenbone. Here you can just simply say that sign in as a guest, and now you can see here, you can see NVTs, and yeah, you can explore here further. Okay, so now to show you how to install openvas in Kali Linux machine, I have already this Kali Linux machine, and here I'm going to launch this terminal window. And in the terminal window, actually I have run some commands to update it. So you can also run this command, that is sudo update okay, apt update. So I have run this command because it takes time, and also this command, that is sudo apt and this and upgrade. Let me have this command which we can run in your before starting the installation, it's good to run these commands to update our systems. So I have already updated my Kali Linux machine with these two commands, and I'll put these commands in the description section as well. So now this is the step from where we will start installing openvas scanning tool in our Kali Linux machine. And for this very first command is just to, that is sudo apt install openvas. So sudo apt install and openvas. So this is the first command we are using to install and download NVTs as signatures. So it will download the database, and it will have the NVTs with this command. So we are starting the installation here, and then press enter and give the password of your administrator or the root password and say yes. And now this has started installing openvas on our Kali Linux machine. and they have this the scanning components of GVM, and it may take some time, openvas, and once this is complete we can run our second command, and by using that command we will be setting up all the remaining processes required for using openvas scanner. And I showed those websites. They are really interesting. If you go further into detail, you can see their live feed, and this is interesting to see that how they are updating their NVTs there. Okay, this is complete, and I paused my video for a while to save some time, but after some time you have to wait. This will be installed, and after this command we have to run the setup, that is sudo gvm, and then we have setup, gvm-setup command. This will set up the remaining process to make this machine ready for using openvas. To press enter using this command, it is creating all these things, creating databases, applying permissions, you can see here. So hopefully this all will go smoothly and we will not have any problem. And of course it may take some time again, so maybe I'll pause this video for a while and then I'll be back once this is done. But we have to wait for several minutes for this to complete, because it will be updating, and the database of the signature files which are needed to scan the target machine. And finally this database is complete, and it took almost 40 minutes on my computer to complete it. So you also have to wait for this step to complete, for this setup step to complete. And once this is complete, you can see there is a message that the GVM feeds updated, checking default scanner, modifying default scanner. So all these things you should also have the same message like this. And one more important thing is that there is an account with this username, that is the admin username, and this is the password. By default this is the password which has been created during installation. So I'm going to copy and paste this password, maybe yes, copy this, and I'm going to save it maybe in some file here. So maybe create a document here, empty file, and then in empty file I'm going to paste this here. So this is the password which I have saved here. I'll use it. I'm not going to change the password, but we can change, of course. So, and now after we are done with that, we can say that actually we can get help from this sentence. It says that you can now run this command to check or to make sure that everything is correctly configured. So this is very much important. So I'm going to run this gvm again with sudo privileges, sudo gvm and check and setup. This is the command which I'm using to make sure that everything is correctly configured. And to press enter and password, and now it should give us very good news. We should have everything in this okay status. Otherwise it may suggest us something to do to mitigate any problem or to solve any problem here. It says that up to this step we are in okay status. And here this is step 7, checking if GVM services are up and running. So it is checking this. We have to wait again, and besides it seems like your GVM 21.4.3 installation is okay. So this is the good news that installation is fine. And after this we have to just start gvm services here. So sudo gvm, and that is start, that's the command. So we'll be using this sudo gvm, and that is start, and press enter. So sudo gvm services are already running, so they were already running, and now to launch these services we actually have to open our browser here. And once browser is launched, we have to give the local loop IP address. So that is 127.0. Sorry, I have just make it here, https, and this, and then 127.0.0.1, and then 9392 is the port number where we have this service running. Press enter, and then we have this window where it says that this is warning potential security risk ahead. So we have to click on advanced, and we have to say accept the risk and continue. And once we accept it, we will have a window like this, and here we have to give this credentials. So admin was the username, and if you remember, we also have saved the password in this text file. So I'm going to again copy and paste this password from here, and I'll be giving this password here, and paste this password, and then sign in. Yes, we want to save it, and this is the window, this is the dashboard of openvas scanning. Now in this dashboard we have to use this scanning tool to scan the vulnerability or weaknesses available on our target machine. And if you remember that we have already decided that metasploitable machine, so this is the metasploitable machine which we will be using our target machine. So for this we have to find out the IP address for this. So that is msf admin, this is the by default username and password for this. So first we need to log in into this metasploitable machine, and then we have to use this ifconfig to find out the IP address for this machine. And you can see this the IP address 192.168.66.133. And now using this IP address we will be using this scanning tool to scan the target machine to find out the weaknesses or vulnerabilities there. Then I can see here we have this dashboard for openvas, and this is from Greenbone security assistant. And now if you want to scan some target machine, then we have to, first of all we have to set a target. So to set up a target we have to go here in configuration. In the menu bar we have different options here, but at the moment we are just going to select configuration, and in this configuration we have the option to set up a target. So we are going to click on this target, and when we click this target it says that no target has been configured or no target is available. And now to configure a target here, so we have to click here, and this says no new target. So click there, and in this window which appears here we have to set up a target, and the target name can be any one. So for example, maybe we can say this is the metasploitable 2 machine, so maybe we can give it a name of metasploitable 2, or maybe we can say my first scan. Okay, and then the comment section, you can also write anything here in the comment sections. And then host, this is where we have to give the IP address of our target machine, and that is 192.168.66.133. so that is the IP address of our target, and that is metasploitable 2 machine. Yeah, this one, right, this one. And then we are not going to exclude any host, because it says that if you have maybe multiple computers and multiple hosts, you can exclude some of the IP addresses there. We are not changing it, and all remaining port we are taking it as by default, but you can change it, and maybe in some other video we'll try to explore it further. But at the moment we are not touching any other setting, and we are going to save this target. Now target is saved here, so you can see this is the target, my first scan. This is the host machine which we will be scanning, and all the ports will be scanning, and there is only one IP address which we are interested in scanning. Once we have set the target, we have to go to scan. So we have to click on this scan, and then we have to click on task. And once we end this task, we have to create a task. And for this, we have two options. We can go to task wizard, or we can just simply create a new task. So I'm going to click on new task, click there. And in this new task, let's say we are going to create this task, and after this we'll be starting this actual scanning. So for this, I'm going to give it a name like my first task. And in my first task, I have already created my target. So target is actually Metasploitable 2 machine. And for this, I have defined this target with the name of my first scan. And then I'm not going to change any of the remaining configurations. So here we have different alerts and schedule, whether we want, how frequently, or maybe you can see here, maybe we can define it, but at the moment we are not going to change it. And we are going to save these configurations. And for the scanner, we have openvas default, which is also same, which we are selecting here, but we can also select CVE, but we are not going to change it. And scan configurations, there are multiple options there to select, but we are going to select this one, full and fast. But we can have system discovery, host discovery, so these all options are there. We stick with the by default options which we have here, and then we are going to save this task. Once we save this task, you can see here this is the name of the task. So this is my first task, which is the name which we have given just now, and this status is new, and there are no reports. And then we have not created, we have not started actual scan. And now you can see here, this is the play button, and when I click this start, it will start scanning the target machine, which is my Metasploitable 2 machine, which is this here. Okay, so in this, first I created my target by going to configuration. Here I selected the target, I configured the target, and then I'm going to scan this target. And now my first task is to scan that target, and I'm going to start it by clicking on simply this play button. And as I click there, you can see here this the status is requested, so status has been changed, and now it will start. And depending on the speed, it may take some time. It will start from 1% and then 2 3, and it will go to 100%. It may take time, because there are many vulnerabilities in this Metasploitable 2 machine. So for that we have to wait, and maybe I'll pause this video and then I'll be back. And now you can see the status has been changed to Q, and now this is 0%, but still we have to wait that it should start scanning, and it may take time. Okay, so finally, after a wait of 40 minutes, this has completed the scan. So as I said before that, I will pause this recording because it will take time. So it took actually 40 minutes. Anyway, now you can see this status is done, and there is only one report here because we had only one target to scan. And yeah, we had only one scan, so we have one report here. And this is the date where we did this test. And then this time is dependent on your virtual machine, how your virtual machine's time is set. So I'm actually in the virtual machine at the moment. And then this is the severity level. Severity level means you can see this is 10. This is the highest level of severity, because we know that this Metasploitable 2 machine is vulnerable. And that is vulnerable because this has been made available for us to learn pen testing or ethical hacking. Okay, so this is really vulnerable machine. And this is the status. And if you want to see the reports, for example, if this is done, then we can just click there, and double click, I mean if you double click there, this is the report where you can have the further information about that report. And here you can see this the information that on this specific day this took a scan duration, this is the time, but this 35 to 40 minutes it took, and I think this 35 is the exact time. Anyways, status, this is done, and host scan 1, and then we have these are the results, and when we click on these results we can have further information about the results. So this is the host IP address we scanned, this is the Metasploitable 2 machine which we scanned, and now these are the vulnerabilities which are there, and you can see this is the severity level. So these are high severity level. You can see the scoring, this is 10 is a score there, and then you scroll down here, you can have more severe vulnerabilities. You can see this column is for vulnerability, so these all this all is the this list shows you the vulnerabilities, and then on here this actually shows you the severity level of that. So you can see the score is decreasing, it means they are not that much alarming vulnerabilities, but at the top you can see the severity level is high, and this score you can have some feeling, you can understand that how much serious these vulnerabilities are. And then you can see here we have these where these vulnerabilities are, what protocols for example they are using, and when they were created. And yeah, so you can, if you want to find some details about some specific vulnerability, then you can simply click here. For example, if we see here the very first one, so if I click there, so this the vulnerability says that possible backdoor, and if you want to see further detail about that vulnerability, it says that a backdoor is installed on the remote host. So it means in our case a backdoor is installed in our target machine, and that target machine is Metasploitable 2, and then this is the detection result, and what is the detection method and version used, what version is being used on our target machine, and what is the impact. And then attackers so can exploit this issue to execute arbitrary command in the context of the application, and successful attack will compromise the affected system. So this is further information about that. And yes, in some of the cases is also proposes some solution. So in this case is that whole cleanup of the infected system is recommended. So if you want to avoid or if you want to mitigate this threat or this vulnerability, then we have to follow these solutions, right? So in this way we have these all results there, and then we have this hosts. Yes, so these are the hosts, so we only had one host there. And then this is the information about the operating system, so operating system our target machine, and then these are some TLS certificate, and maybe we call signatures, digital signatures, and this is information about CVEs, so common vulnerabilities and exposure sign. And so this is the information. We can go further there for more information about that, so CVE information, and if you click there it will take you to that CVE database, and we should have here the information about the CVSS score. If I click on results, so these are some results, and you can see here we have these results that by severity class. So here this is 25, this is a high severity 7, and then this is medium, and then you can see. So this is graphical representation of the vulnerabilities available on that target machine, Metasploitable 2 machine. And one last point which I want to mention here is that if we want to export this result, then we can go to scan, and then we can click on reports. So when we are in this report, we just can click on this date. So when we click on this date, then we can have somewhere this option. So this is the option. So this option shows that if you want to download this filtered report, so maybe we can download from here. Okay, so click there, download, and then we have different formats. CSV, PDF, or XML file. In this format, we can actually download this one, right? So this is how we can actually generate a report of that. And if we use some different format, then of course we can import these this scanning results in, maybe for example, in Metasploit as well. So this is ready. I'm not going to open it, but you can see this, the report which we have here in the PDF format. Okay, so that's it. We have seen only the overview of this openvas scanner. Maybe in future we will be exploring it more, but for today that's it. And thank you very much for your time. Hope to see you in some other video.